This is Word on the Street with Joey Hudson, powered by Ingalls Markets. Low prices, love the savings on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Are you ready for this? I dropped over 30 pounds on the PhD weight loss plan, and I never took Ozempic or any of those other weight loss shots. Joey Hudson here. Before you take a drug, here's something you should know. Your body already makes GLP-1. That's the appetite-fighting hormone that these popular drugs copy. But the PhD weight loss program helps your body make it on its own. No side effects, no long-term risk, no major muscle loss, and no rebound weight gain when you stop. Just natural, lasting results. Before Big Pharma was dancing around in commercials, Dr. Ashley Lucas was doing the real work, helping people lose weight naturally and keeping it off, all without hunger or cravings. At PhD Weight Loss, you'll learn what to eat, when to eat, and how to flip your fat-burning switch without a shot. Don't trade your health for a quick fix. You can do this without Big Pharma. You can do this without drugs. Right now, the first 11 callers get 2 weeks free added to their program, 15% off when you fully commit to the program, a free supplemental bundle, and the PhD Get Results Guarantee. Call now, 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or online at myphdweightloss.com. Adam Jahnke is Strategic Director of Concerned Veterans of America in South Carolina. Adam is a Purple Heart retired Marine who has had multiple combat tours to Iraq. He also worked at the Department of Veteran Affairs for a number of years as a clinical social worker, and prior to that had a long career in veterans advocacy. Welcome, Adam. Appreciate you spending a few minutes with you.
Appreciate it, Joey. Thank you for making the time.
Sure thing. Let's just start with a general overview of what Concerned Veterans of America does.
Yeah, absolutely. Concerned Veterans for America, we're a grassroots organization. We're currently in 12, about to be 14 states with a 34-state footprint right now, which we intend to grow eventually to all 50 states. And what we do is we build our grassroots armies to advocate for policy change and freedom and prosperity for all Americans. But mainly, a lot of our priorities have been in the veteran space because that's who we are. We're the vast majority of all our employees and volunteers. We're all veterans. We all served, or we had family members that served. So we just want to make sure that the government upholds its promises that they made to us, and hopefully make unique policy changes that uplift the American dream for everybody.
Yeah. Adam, how long have you been involved with CVA?
I've been involved with CVA for about 2.5, 3 years now, from a volunteer to full-time status, and been an amazing experience so far. We've gotten a lot done and a lot more to do.
Yeah. Well, what are the major challenges that you are seeing our veterans face today?
I mean, when there's so many challenges facing the veterans community, I would say that obviously I think we can all agree that the 22 to 28 suicides a day is unacceptable.
Wow.
You know, ever since the government got a hold of that in 2010 and really started pouring money into the problem, we really haven't seen the kind of solutions that we would like in the veteran community. So I think what separates CVA from other veteran organizations is that we are advocating at the national and state level to make the changes necessary for that number to go down, and especially in the healthcare front, which is kind of what I wanted to talk to your listeners about today.
Sure, yeah. And let's get to that. In 2018, as I understand it, President Trump, during his first administration, signed into law the VA Mission Act. So what did that program do for our vets, and how has it changed?
Yeah, so I would like to start by letting your audience know that this fight is not just for veterans. This fight is for all Americans, and I'll tell you why. Because from the 2018 passing of the Mission Act to today, we've seen what works and what doesn't work with that program. But this fight is so critical for all Americans because the VA is the model for the majority of the left for socialized medicine. And as veterans, most veterans, you know, on average, they get a decent experience at their VA, but if they don't, there's no other option. So in 2018, when we passed the Mission Act, our organization had wrote that legislation, and a lot of our policy team were there during the signing of that bill. What it did is it created, for the first time in large numbers, access to community care for veterans. And this is why it's huge, because if you were caught up in a VISN, which is a regional VA system that has failed almost every single audit for the last 2 to 3 decades, you're still stuck in that system. What community care did for the first time in large numbers is it allowed certain veterans that meet certain criteria, like too long of a wait for an appointment, or they lived too far away from that specialty care they need, they would then in turn qualify for community care. And then they were able to choose a private healthcare doctor that met their needs to get to get the access that they deserve, right?
Sure.
Because, the VA is very, very short in a lot of specialists, and the wait times can be astronomical. So, our whole approach is we fought, we sacrificed. All we want is to be taken care of for those service-connected conditions that we live with every day. And in the VA system, you can't choose your doctor. You could switch your doctor, but you can't choose your doctor. And I think that this model allows veterans to have more freedom of choice. And more importantly, instead of waiting for the VA to get fixed, this is a solution right now. So veterans can go where they need to. You hear all these stories about, veterans going to the VA for the first time because they have health conditions. They might be retirees now. Well, that spouse of that veteran is going to have to get a master's degree in bureaucracy to try to figure out where they need to go and how they need to do things to get it done. So the Mission Act, although it was flawed, which we're probably going to talk about in a minute, was the first floodgate to really open up those access standards. And speeding that up to today, more than 50% of all veterans in the VA healthcare system have used or are using community care.
Now, and with me today, Adam Jahnke, Director of Concerned Veterans for America in South Carolina. And you said that it was flawed. Expand on that a bit. In what ways?
Yeah, absolutely. So, with lawyer speak in any kind of bill, there's, some of the bureaucrats and, across the nation in different branches, but in this case, the VA interpreted the law kind of liberally, right? So instead of keeping the website up to let veterans know they qualify, they took that website down. And in the spirit of the bill, they wanted to make sure that every veteran knew they qualified. Well, come to find out, almost all the VAs were doing everything in their power to not let veterans know that they qualify for that program or get access to it. And one of the ways that they implemented the community care program is that at the VISN level, again, that regional VA network, they created a community care office. So when you're referred to community care, you have to talk to the community care office. They give you a list of doctors. You have to let them know when you make the appointment. They're adding bureaucracy to a program that doesn't need bureaucracy.
Yeah.
So the Veteran Access Act, which is what we're trying to get past now, fixes a lot of those gray areas and ensures that the codification of the access standards, meaning it's not up to that regional VA to decide who qualifies and who doesn't. And it's also, they need to let veterans know that they qualify for community care when they're eligible. We're going to have self-scheduling portals. And the most exciting part of this legislation is the full choice pilot for mental health and substance abuse. And why that's important is because instead of having to go to a VA, by the way, in the upstate, we don't have inpatient substance abuse treatment for veterans. Mm-hmm. They have to send them to other VAs in other states. What this would allow veterans to do is go to an inpatient mental health facility or an inpatient substance abuse facility in the upstate that might be a part of Prisma or somebody else, but they get to choose where they go.
That's a good place to pause there, Adam. We'll continue our conversation with Adam Jahnke with Concerned Veterans for America up next.
This is Word on the Street with Joey Hudson on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. This is Word on the Street with Joey Hudson, powered by Ingalls Markets. Low prices, love the savings on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Continuing my conversation with Adam Jahnke, Strategic Director of Concerned Veterans for America, and we're talking about health care for our veterans. Adam, I'm just having a hard time understanding why the bureaucracy would put up roadblocks that would prevent our veterans from knowing what benefits are available to you.
Well, it's the nature of bureaucracy, I'm afraid. Yeah. I feel, we've seen time and time again through multiple investigations, whether it was the VA Phoenix scandal or prior, a lot of these VISNs have secret wait lists just to skirt eligibility for certain programs. So if they're going to put their time and energy to create secret wait lists just to hide the fact that their wait times are astronomical, you'd think that they'd welcome, something to ease that burden so that veterans can get their needs met. But at the end of the day, I feel like many in the VA bureaucracy view it as a threat to their budget and their existence, right? Instead of it being another way to help veterans get to where they need to be.
Yeah.
So at CVA, we're not anti-VA. We just want to make sure that it's better for everybody. And if it's not, and it doesn't meet your healthcare goals, you can't wait 8 months to see an oncologist. You got to see one right now.
Yeah.
So what this legislation does is it forces the VA to compete in the free market at a limited extent, where veterans can choose, hey, if I see that doctor down the road that I know personally and he meets my values, I'd rather see him than drive 3 hours down to Columbia and have my appointment canceled.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
So in a way, it's a threat to the status quo. But the reason why I think that's unacceptable is in 2000, the VA budget was about $80 to $90 billion. And today it's over $400 billion. And there's 480,000 employees at the VA. That's bigger than active duty Army.
Yeah.
That's a huge liability, right? So when they talk about rolling back veterans benefits or all these scare tactics, we just need to be better stewards of the dollar and making sure that all the promises made to us before we went downrange are being upheld.
Yep. With me today, Adam Jahnke with Concerned Veterans for America. If you'd like additional information, go to cv4a.org, cv4a.org, and find out additional information about this, what this great group is doing. So back to some of the numbers there as far as their budget. Is it safe to say then that money is not necessarily the problem with the benefits?
I mean, with any government program, over the course of time, we've seen an explosion in costs with very minimal changes in outcomes. And, as a nation, we're over $30 trillion in debt. We're spending $2.5 trillion more a year than we're taking in. And I think we're one of the only groups in the veteran space that's saying, hey, we need to be better stewards of these dollars and make sure that, the promises made to us are being kept into the future. I think what happened, Joey, is pretty much since the war of terror started, every single politician, left or right, was terrified to say no or challenge possibly bad or flawed legislation.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what led to this massive expansion and explosion in the budget of the VA. And we're just saying, hey, if the VA can't fix itself and adapt, after they fail these meaningful third-party audits time and time again, we just need to make sure, one, that we're being responsible with the cost involved in veterans care, and two, we've already proven this works. Why can't we get more of what veterans want, right?
Yeah.
They want to go see the doctors in their community. They want to see that specialist that worked 30 years in his career to be one of the top surgeons. I want to go see him. I don't want to see an intern at the VA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I mean, no one else, civilians, I wouldn't want to be told where I had to go. If I had something that I'm being treated for and needed a surgery, as you said, I want to be able to pick the best doctor. And not have restrictions on who I can see. Adam Jahnke with me today. We're talking about Concerned Veterans for America and some legislation they're working on. Well, let me ask you this. So, as we mentioned, the VA Mission Act was passed during President Trump's first administration. Are you seeing a change of attitude in these not quite 100 days of Trump 2?
So ever since this legislation, and the legislation specifically is S-275 in the Senate and H.R. 740 in the House, we've seen an outpour of support. Many of the original co-sponsors of the Mission Act were surprised to find out that the original intent of the bill they signed in 2018 wasn't being followed.
Yeah.
So we're quickly grabbing as many co-sponsors as possible, and we're using, our grassroots army to continue that fight and advocate for that change. Now, again, the news cycle has been ridiculous, so it's hard to get any kind of attention and traction on things that used to be more powerful. But now with all this outrage around every corner, it's hard to draw attention to what really needs to get done here. But our goal is to get this passed and signed into law this fiscal year, hopefully.
Sure. What type of support are you receiving from some of our upstate South Carolina, western North Carolina members of Congress? For example, William Timmons and Ralph Norman and Representative Sherry Biggs, are they supporting this?
Yeah, absolutely. We work closely with all of our elected officials in the state and across the country. So far, Nancy Mace co-signed that legislation.
Mm-hmm.
Sherry Biggs was the first adopter of that legislation, and Joe Wilson verbally committed to signing that bill. We need to do some follow-up with him, and I believe the vast majority of the members are going to be co-signers shortly.
Yeah.
But that's where the grassroots army comes in, because all of our volunteers in the upstate and in Myrtle Beach, that's what we're doing. We're making phone calls, we're knocking doors, trying to get our elected officials to sign on to this vital legislation.
So do our listeners need to be contacting their member of Congress to let them know that we want them to support this?
Yeah, absolutely. And the easiest way to do that is to go to our website. And then if you take action on our website, someone from our team is going to follow up with you, get you connected, and help you get the tools necessary to leave those voicemails, to make those emails, and to get action moving forward.
Yeah. And that website again
There's a million ways to help.
Okay, yeah. The website is cv4a.org, cv4a.org. With me today, Adam Jahnke with Concerned Veterans for America. In our final moment or so today, Adam, I want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for what you have done for our country. And, it always is just concerning for me when I hear stories of our veterans, men and women who fought for our country, who protected my freedom of speech so that I can be a big mouth on the radio. It just always concerns me when you guys aren't being taken care of. So, I want you to know that I appreciate you, and I know all of our listeners appreciate you, and anything that we can do to help, we certainly want to.
I appreciate your time, Joey, and thank you so much for your support.
Always a pleasure, and thank you again for your time and for what you're doing. And one last time, that's cv4a.org. Go online and call your Congress, your member of Congress. Call your U.S. Senator and let them know that we need to support our veterans, and this is a good way to do it. Adam, always a pleasure. Thank you again for your time today.
Appreciate it, Joey. Thanks.
Have you been wondering if now's a good time to look at a new home? Joey Hudson here. When you partner with America's Home Place, there's never a bad time to build the home of your dreams. Home sale prices have gone up, and with the high mortgage rates we have now, building your own home might be your best option. And that's where my friends at America's Home Place comes in. America's Home Place can design and build the home of your dreams. As a one-stop shop for new home builds, they've partnered with favorable lenders to get you the rates and the terms that you need. It's just a more convenient option compared to waiting and hoping that the perfect house becomes available at a price you like. Instead, America's Home Place can help you design and build the perfect home just for you. As a turnkey home building provider, they can help you every step of the way, from the initial design all the way through the construction of your new home. It makes the process as simple and straightforward as possible. You can find America's Home Place on Clemson Boulevard in Anderson and connect with them online at americashomeplace.com. That's americashomeplace.com. America's Home Place, there's no bad time to build your new dream home. Coming up, Ryan Dirk, CEO, President of Miracle Hill Ministries, joins us to talk about a new thrift store they're opening to help support their ministries in the upstate. Your comments are welcome on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line. Text or call, one number does it all, 800-905-0989. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com.
This is Word on the Street with Joey Hudson on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.